too much post top roll, too much hand, and could potentially will contest him in a hook too.
Indeed, and I think you can kind of tell by the picture I chose here for him. I think this would have been a prime Cleve Dean, right? You see pictures of him when he was younger and wasn't quite as bulky as he was there, but I think he's still young enough there to have some mobility on the table and use that massive frame and weight.
That's terrible. It looks like a massively obese guy in that photo. His legs look like
he was. He was at some point, but he could still, do stuff on the table. Weirdly enough.
Let's go, Dave. Now, let's just say that I have gripped Dave Chafee on the table before, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll have to say, I'm just gonna tell you, this is not a word of a lie. I had hand control. Okay.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you might be. Hope you're having a wonderful Sunday so far. Welcome to the Arm Historian Live. Let me turn down my mic volume a little. Seem to be peaking here and there. There we go, that should be better, I think. How you guys doing? He was in chat. The Drew, how you doing? Brad Butler, good to see you, man. Ian, what's up? Daria Khan versus Muratov needs to happen. Would be a good match. Kazazuri, how you doing, man? Good to see you. AJ, my friend, how you doing? Welcome. Yeah, I see YouTube has put in this new top fans function. Very interesting. I think it's based on just stream interaction in general. Like talking and stuff like that in chat. It would be interesting to maybe incorporate that visually into the stream too, so people can follow along. Okay, what's on the docket today? It's been a long time since I live streamed. Basically, I think from before I went to the Philippines, which for those who don't know, I went on a 3-week holiday to the Philippines, did some arm wrestling there, made a video on it. So if you're interested in that, make sure to watch the video after the live stream. I might go over a couple of pictures and some stories today if it comes up. But other than that, this live stream is mainly meant as a way for me to catch up on what's been happening in the arm wrestling world, because honestly, it seems a lot has been going on and I'm kind of lost on some things. So yeah, we're mainly gonna talk about that. I see there's some rifts forming between different camps, maybe some good old East versus West, like an East and West rift forming in arm wrestling again. But yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. Zuri says, got my first XP today. The vid is awesome. Philippines are busy arm wrestling. Cool to see. Yeah, a lot of people in the Philippines are down with arm wrestling. A surprising amount, actually. And a lot of them are really strong. You know, despite them not being the tallest people in the world, they make up for it with some other very strong attributes. But yeah, very strong people. Did a lot of arm wrestling over there. Learned a ton of new things. And just enjoyed the country in general. Also, we're going to be talking about the channel, kind of what's coming up, which videos are coming up, and what's going to be happening during the live streams, because we do have a couple of things we need to finish in the live streams too. The Drew says, good to see it spread around the world. Yeah, they even had public arm wrestling tables and stuff like that, which is crazy to me. And I visited a gym where a gym that was completely specific to arm wrestling, completely catered to arm wrestlers, so that was really cool. Bear in the chat, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Welcome to what has become a pretty rare occurrence, an ARM historian live. But I am planning on doing these again every week, on every Sunday, and also finishing up the all-time prime league, which, yeah, we started it months ago now, but haven't been able to finish it yet. Top Troll King, how you doing? Says, what drama? There is none. Engin is out, Brian is in, Devin is a clown, Layton is enjoying summer, Baxter is opening a new kebab chain, Dexter back to Asia, and enlisted to fight in the Thailand war. Okay, kinda answered your own question there. Tony Rizzo, how you doing? Good to see you, man. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well on this Sunday. Arms again on Wednesday. I'd love to meet up to train on Tuesday, by the way. You guys can meet up for some benching then. It'd be awesome. So yeah, Top Troll King kind of alluded to it here. There seems to have been a rift in arm wrestling since I last caught up on what's been going on. Engin left East vs West, as I understand it, and East vs West is now solely in the hands of Robert Baxter and Dexter, I believe. Maybe some other people involved. It's a whisper. I saw there's some things going around with Devin and Jody owning part of East vs West. So yeah, a lot of things happening. I know there's been a lot of Eastern athletes who've been kind of making posts about them not wanting to pull in East vs West if Engin is not involved with it. As far as I know, Engin sold East vs West, right? Drew says, oh, you missed all this shit. I missed a lot of it. Like, the first part of it unfolded while I was on holiday. And after I came back, I had a lot of other stuff to do. I'm also moving house, so yeah, taking up a lot of my time. Because Azuri says, my question is, are they all serious on quitting? I don't know, man. Is it just posturing in order to, like, pick a side? I don't know. Ian says, they are. It's very interesting because I switched sides, it seems, like as I've been kind of picking up on a couple of breadcrumbs here and there. I've switched sides on where I'm at quite a bit. Like at first I thought Eastern pullers were quitting because they had some issue getting paid. But then that doesn't seem to be the main issue for a lot of the guys, right? And then I kind of noticed it was part of some bigger wave of Eastern pullers quitting. Kind of under the leadership maybe of Engin Terzi has been speculated, so yeah, very confusing to me, but I'd love to know more about it and get kind of a clear vision on what's actually been going on there. Because at this moment I'm like completely lost. I saw Devin, like the Devin and Vitali match has gotten interwoven with that. Because now, as I understand it, the next edition of East vs West is happening at Brian Shaw's event, right? That's the way I understand it. And the other venue they had secured, not secured, nothing's happening there anymore, I think, right? Which also means that Devin is not facing Vitali, but instead will be facing Kurdecha on the left as well as the right, as far as I understand. Ian says they are Engin's puppets. Yeah, that's a sentiment I've been seeing a lot lately, going around on social media and stuff, saying a lot of these pullers are all only saying what they are because Engin is telling them to. I have no clue if that's actually true or not. I'm kind of looking through some social media, but we can't really find a lot about it anymore. It will be interesting going forward because I think in the event, the next East vs West event, it's mainly Western pullers there now, right? If I'm not mistaken. maybe let's take a look together at the current East versus West website. Let me pull that up for you guys. Or try to at least. Yeah, here we go. Okay. Yeah, here we are. So yeah, it does seem like the Brian Shaw event is on their main website right now. With Eddie Hall, Brian Shaw, and Devin Larratt at the front. Interesting. Very interesting. Out of Tune says Ray just posted a video. They are going to have a video ref at the Shaw Classic, which is great. Bruce, interesting. Out of Tune. Because Azuri says Brian is also organizing tournaments now. He seems pretty serious and passionate. Yeah, I saw part of that video from Brian Shaw. Yeah. Was a well-made video. Out of Tune says, good evening, Army Historian, and everybody else. Good evening, Out of Tune. Welcome to Army Historian Live. Daniel says, West versus West. Yeah, that's what it's kind of looking like, right? I really don't care. It's East versus West. I just want the top 8 tournament again. Yeah, there's people who've been clamoring, and I know you're one of them, Kazazuri, for like one big tournament with the top 8 guys. I'd love to see it. Honestly, I would love to see that format. So yeah, let's take a look at the matches. I'm very interested if this is truly all West versus West here. Let's start at the bottom. Lauren Chalet versus Martins Lichis. Interesting. I know both these guys. Yeah, I know both these guys. That's an interesting match, I guess. It's kind of a social media match, right? In a way. It's very... I think I saw Martins in a video not too long ago trying out arm wrestling, but I could be wrong. Todd Proking says, turbulent time. Never know if you're the enemy of the sport or not. I just do glutes until the next event. That's the way to go. Out of Tune says, I really think these are some amazing matches. But I'm a fan of Strongman, so there is that. Yeah, that'll help, for sure. Elsem says, this will be interesting. Will be interesting seeing what Big Loss can do, says Out of Tune. Yeah, we've seen him a couple of times, right? On the table. I think he should get the better of Martins, right? Just on experience. Erican says, Shaw Classic is going to introduce arm wrestling to so many new fans and potential strongmen to join. Lichis did an arm wrestling video. I thought I saw that. Alsem says, not a match, but your opinion on this card. Yeah, man. Yeah, let's take a look at the card and then I'll express my opinion on it. So yeah, it's interesting seeing like a pure social media match on an East versus West card, because there's been a couple of times, right, where I'm thinking of like Schoolboy versus Leonidas was also East versus West, I think, right? So I think there's been a couple of times where some of these matches have happened, but it's pretty rare. So that's an interesting one right off the bat. Next one is Gabby versus Jocelyn, which it's good there's a women's match on there, I have to say. Yeah, I don't know about this matchup though, because in my mind, Gabby is above Egle, and Egle kind of handled Jocelyn pretty easily, right? If I remember correctly, so... The best thing that happened to the sport, there are quite a bit of people in chat, it seems, that are quite hopeful and positive about this venue. Strongest arm on earth, it says in the background, so I don't know if that denotes something special, or it's kind of confusing if this is East versus West or strongest arm on earth, because I was under the impression that they would have a separate event, a separate arm wrestling event, kind of showcasing some strongmen doing arm wrestling, and then have East versus West at the same venue, but as a different event. But it seems like they're just doing it as one big event. I don't know. Mitchell Hooper just had a first practice with Devon. Awesome. Yeah, I want to see more people getting into arm wrestling, obviously, as much as possible. Out of Tune says the strongest matches plus the Gabby match were already planned for strongest arm. They were already set before all the drama happened. Right, okay, so Ryan Shaw was planning an arm wrestling event called the strongest arm on earth. And then the East versus West drama happened. And then Brian Shaw said, you know what? If you don't have a venue for East versus West, you can just do the event at my venue, and we'll combine it with the strongest arm on earth. I think that's what happened, right? So, yeah. Next match. Sear Brown? I might be butchering that name. Versus Derek Smith. Yeah, no clue what to expect from this. It's very interesting that... No offense to Brown here, but it's in the same event, technically. Also East versus West, where Derek has faced Artyom Morozov. So, you know, previously people thought Derek Smith versus Artyom Morozov would be a worthwhile matchup. And now this is Derek's opponent at East versus West at the same event. You know what I mean? The same league. So yeah, very interesting to see the trajectory of some of these pullers. You guys heard about Derek Smith doing slap fighting, by the way? I'm trying to find a clip of it, but I couldn't find one yet. If someone has a clip of it, send it to me in a PM or something. But yeah, Derek Smith, as well as Lachlan Adair, were in a slap fight. Or will be? I think it already happened, but yeah. They were in a slap fight. Can you believe that? Let's see if I can find it somewhere. I even saw a poster of, I think, Lachlan and there. Yeah, maybe it's here. Yeah, Lachlan Adair like hurt his finger, really weird. Hey, take a look at this one. Like, what is going on? This is so weird. Kind of reminds me of, you know, that whole saga with like Monster Michael Todd and Travis Bagent hyping up a match between them, and then on the day it would actually happen, they like did something stupid like this boxing machine thing. But yeah, really weird that they're doing a slap fighting championship. That's crazy, man. Yeah, here he is. Lachlan, one of their reels. Interesting, very interesting. How big is this slap fighting anyways? I don't want to go off on like a giant tangent, but yeah, that is... yeah, an interesting choice. Alsam says, yeah, they should have just took the 19 out and called in East versus West Strongest Arm on Earth, and maybe an annual call-up with Shaw Classic. Yeah, something like that would have been maybe a little more aesthetically pleasing, or like less confusing with the names. Okay, thank you, Out of Tune, for clarifying that. Yeah, I did say the guy before. I won't forget his name anymore. Piyush, how you doing, man? Good to see you. I saw you had some issues, Piyush, going on. I think that's you, right? You commented on one of my last community posts. You had some issues going on. I hope they're going well. Hope you're doing well, man. Crazy. I don't know who won. I think I read somewhere that Derek lost his match. Their match was weak, says Eric, and interesting. Arm Wrestling Fusion, new genre. You say that, new genre, but kind of reminds me of X-Arm, which, yeah, that's a whole thing in and of itself. Those not familiar with X-Arm, they would strap you together on a kind of an arm wrestling table, and then you would be free to hit the other guy with your free arm while you're trying to arm wrestle, basically. That's what it came down to. It grapple too, if I'm not mistaken. It's basically MMA combined with arm wrestling, some kind of Greek offspring of those two. Okay, yeah. Someone sent the match, I think, but... okay, it's someone talking about it, yeah. But it's not showing any footage, obviously. So strange. So strange. Thanks, Arm Breakdown, for making a video on that. But yeah, moving on. Richard Borman versus Pavlo Derbedeniev. Interesting. Yeah, I don't mind this kind of match. I don't mind. Just because I think Pavlo deserves more time on the big stage. And Richard, I haven't seen a lot of him yet. Like, I feel like he's not really proven yet against the really big boys, so this will be a very nice entry-level match. If he can snag the victory here, he's like, I think his career is set, right? Or like his trajectory is set. Yeah. I like this match. I do. Erickson says slap fighting is very niche. It used to be insanely unsafe. Unlimited rounds. Jeez. Pavlo for the win, says, because that's a very good job getting here so far. Yeah, Out of Tune agrees. It's interesting. Good test for Richard, indeed. Pavlo is a great dude. He has done a lot for arm wrestling and helps out where he can. Richard is just incredible. Yeah, Pavlo always seems like a good dude whenever I see him in a YouTube video or something. But yeah, I like this match. Next one is Matt Mask versus Philip Larson. I know Philip. I've seen him in a couple of videos. I know he's very strong. I think he's also active on the arm wrestling subreddit. So I might have had a couple of interactions with him on there, but I'm not too sure. But yeah, a big chance for Philip here to prove himself, of course. I think someone in chat alluded to that it's kind of similar to the Richard versus Pavlo match. But yeah, man, this will be really interesting. Matt Mask coming off his loss with I always blank on his name. The short Georgian dude. For some reason I'm blanking on his name, but you guys know who I'm talking about. Coming off a loss against him. Yeah, Nugo. Thank you, All Sims. Yeah, good match, I think. Might be potentially a good match, but I don't know. I kind of feel like maybe Philip Larson shouldn't be put against Matt Mask, because Matt Mask is such a known entity and Philip Larsen is just getting into it. Yeah, I don't know, man. But yeah, so far we've seen a couple of like international matches, I think. Yeah, Gabriela is Brazilian. These are all US, I think. Although Martins might be Polish or something, but I think he lives in the US, right? And then Lawrence is UK, I believe. Riekert is South African, I think, right? I believe. Pavlo lives in the US. Philip is he Swedish? I don't know if he's living in the US or not. Matt Mask, of course, Canadian. So there's some diversity here, but yeah, not a lot of Eastern guys, as far as I can tell. And Brisson is also Canadian, right? So is it Brisson or is it Brisson or... Philip pulled Brad Grundy because her table like he was nothing. Yeah, I saw that one before, indeed. Yeah, it looks really strong, and I'm not saying like this could potentially be a good match. It's just, I don't know. I think Matt Mask is pretty high in the rankings in the, what is it, 105 category. So now you're putting him against a super heavyweight. It's just, yeah, I don't mind the match, like I said. Just seems kind of out of left field. Let's find someone to put Matt Mask against. Which I like Philip, from what I've seen of him. But yeah, kinda a little bit of a weird match for me, for some reason. Next match, Todd Hutchings versus Dave Chafee. This one is, when I first saw it, so weird to me. Then I saw, okay, it's a 115 match, so they're putting a weight cap on it, which probably means Todd is still coming in at like 100 kilograms max or something, probably. I haven't been keeping up with any content that is made, but that's what I'm assuming. And Dave Chafee will be coming in at like 115 on the dot, probably. Yeah, I don't know, man. Another kind of a weird match to me. Especially my first read on it. Aren't they training partners too? They train together, right? Doesn't Chafee dominate Hutchings in all their training videos that I've seen? I don't know about this one. I don't know. I don't mind it because I like both of these guys as arm wrestlers, and okay, show me who's the strongest, I guess, but yeah, seems like my gut instinct is a serious mismatch here. Hey, Archivio or Archivio, how you doing? Says a hi and bye. Just came to say hi, have a good night. Thank you for dropping by. Hope you have a good night too, man. Out of Tune says, not going to lie, I have a bit of a crush on Jocelyn. She's fine. Glad that you enjoyed looking at her, I guess, Out of Tune. Edwin Lindbergh says, Philip will destroy Matt. Listen, if a girl does arm wrestling, that's already a plus, right? Philip will destroy will destroy Matt. That might be the case, yeah. Yeah, I think he also outweighs him by quite a bit now, and he's really tall too. Big guy. South African versus Pavlo is, I think, originally Polish, but now lives in America. Now I don't know for how long he's lived in America or anything like that, but that's what I think, what I seem to remember, but I could be wrong. Could be like Ukrainian or Russian or something like that, but I'm not 100% on that. Polish USA says Alsims. Yeah, okay. Still West either way. Yeah, there you go. Pavlo is from Ukraine, says Out of Tune. Okay. Tony Rizzo says, if Philip wins, it will be a big deal. Yeah, that's true. Could be a mismatch. Yeah, I don't know. Couple of weird matches, these ones. I like these matches. This one, I don't know what to think of. The Brown versus Smith match. Yeah, I don't know. They must have felt something because they trained together pretty recently, right? They must have. I think they were in some of the same videos, so with Brian Shaw. So they must have some idea that this will be somewhat of a close match, right? So far, also note that every single match has been a right arm match. And like, this one doesn't specify a weight class. This one says open weight. This one doesn't specify a weight class. This one says super heavyweight for the Bornman versus Derbedeniev match. This one also super heavyweight. Yeah, you have to make it super heavyweight, of course. And this one 115. So it's very strange to me that, like, I feel like the only way Todd Hutchings could be convinced to do this match was by saying, I'm only doing this match if we can get it at 115 kilogram weight cap. Because otherwise they would have just made this. This is a major weight difference too, so Matt Matz must have just said, nah, I'm good, let's just do that open weight, it's fine. So they made it a super heavyweight match, but then this match where there's also a big weight disparity between the two athletes, Todd Hutchings must have put in a clause somewhere there where he's like, nah, I'm only doing this match if Chafee has to come down to 115 at least. Which is very interesting because I know Todd Hutchings has always been very vocal about how weight classes don't matter that much in his mind. He might have revised that opinion during the last years, but I know he was a big proponent of like that kind of theory during the WAL era. Alsem says Chafee is moving to heavyweight and is apparently walking around at heavyweight. Interesting. Yeah, the difference is Philip is 55 kilograms away from 115. Yeah, that makes sense. Hope Chafee's neck is healed. Yeah, me too, man. Been a very chronic injury for him. I don't know about this match. Like, Todd is like, what is he? 100? Around 100? Will he come in at around 100, I think? Most likely. I don't know. Like I said, I don't mind seeing the match. Because I love to see both of these guys pulling, but yeah. Eddie Hall versus Robert Oberst. I haven't seen Robert pull anytime. He must have pulled at some time, but yeah, I haven't seen that before. Does anyone know if he's arm wrestled a lot before? It's interesting that Eddie Hall decided to join the event. Can't be mad about that. I think that's a good thing, right? Thought was too good of a middleweight, then he complained when they moved him up in classes as a stepping stone. Tony Rizzo says weird is good. Yeah, can be, for sure. Not saying it's bad. Hall versus Oberst is huge for strongman fans. Yeah, they're both strongmen indeed. It's good to have an opinion of a strongman fan in chat here, because I think in general there's quite a bit of overlap. Quite a bit of people that follow strongman that also follow arm wrestling. I do too, to a degree, but I'm not like a super big strongman fan. So yeah, it's good to have an opinion, like a perspective from someone who's really into strongman in chat. Because I don't know what to expect from this match. I honestly have no clue. Right arm, super heavyweight, of course. Yeah, I don't know. I would think Eddie would take the match, right? Should take the match, probably most experience in arm wrestling. Then Devin Larratt versus Alex Verdecha, which is not the main event. but they're doing right and left arm in the super heavyweight. Let me contemplate this while I get some water to drink. There we go. Yeah, they just had a match, and I guess they're kind of wanting to redo it, in part because there were some reffing mistakes, which is another interesting tangent we can go on, but yeah, Risto as well as Bill Collins, I believe, both came out saying there were some mistakes that happened during the reffing, so yeah, I guess they kind of want to rectify that. I don't know. Not too excited about this match just because we just kind of saw it. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see them go at it, both on the left and the right. I hope they give it them their all. I hope they're both rested. I would have preferred to see Devon versus Lalatin. With all due respect to Alex, I think Alex would have preferred to see that match too, judging by some of his Instagram posts. But yeah, I don't know. Can be mad about a match like this. Two guys close to the top at least. But like I said, there were other matchup I would have loved to see for Devon as well as for Alex that I think would have been better potentially. Hey, Sweden Arm Wrestling Television, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Hope you're doing well, man. Don't choke, please. I'll try not to. Sometimes I get pretty close. Calvin Jones says, did you guys see Mitchell Hooper training with Devon yesterday? Rocked up at the OHH party, looked really good on the table. Yeah, someone mentioned it before. It did look really good on the table. That's true. Out of Tune says, I'm happy the rematch happens this fast. However, the right-handed rematch with Alex will not happen because it will be with Vitali. I have faith he will come. I don't know, man. Is there still like any chance Vitali will magically show up there? Or Devon will go to Baku or wherever it is? I don't think so. I don't hold a lot of hope for that. Unfortunately. Erican says Kurdecha will win if Vitali shows up and pulls Devon on the right, which will be done first. So there's actual talk about that? Some of the matches Brian Shaw set up before East versus West joined. Yeah, indeed. That's something we mentioned earlier, and we should take that... You know, we should keep that in mind as we're passing judgment on these matches. I'm glad the event is happening at all. I'm glad there's just an arm wrestling event. I think a lot of people here have experienced way worse when events were way less plentiful and yeah. We've been spoiled is what I'm trying to say here. We've kind of been spoiled the way it should be, but we have been spoiled a little, so I'm just happy there's an event that's happening still. Erican says, only reason arm wrestling hasn't been big in Strongman was because of that arm break in an event. Yeah, indeed. Famous arm break. I made a video on the whole strongman and arm wrestling. The whole interaction between strongmen and arm wrestling goes back a long time, since like you can't really call them strongmen in any modern sense, but like the traveling strongman going around performing feats of strength for people in the 1800s and stuff. That was a thing then, and arm wrestling was often part of their repertoire. Like they would challenge people, 100 people, to arm wrestle them and stuff like that. And that's how they made their living, basically. So there's always been some intertwining between classic strongmen, like the traveling classic strongmen, and arm wrestling. So yeah, it makes sense. Like this modern marriage of the two makes sense to me. Awesome, good to hear. Sweden Arm Wrestling Television. Vitaly magically showing up would be the ultimate troll move of the century. I would love it. I would love it, of course. Vitaly just barges in the middle of their match. Just gonna keep talking about Vitaly versus Devon and MMT versus Kurdecha until it happens. I'd love to see that. I like that match way better. Farmers and tradesmen were always risky for carny arm wrestlers. Yeah, that's another intertwining of things. Yeah, can't get super excited about this, but okay, it's a Devon match, I guess. And then as the main card, it seems, they're putting Brandon Allen versus Brian Shaw as a super heavyweight. Again, a right arm match. All the matches are right arm, which left arm completely irrelevant now, confirmed. Poor Alijan. I don't know, man. Brandon Allen. I've seen Brandon Allen on the table, and it seems like a tough. Isn't Brandon Allen kind of good? On the table of it, or am I completely mistaken? Should have the edge over Brian, right? Erican says Kurdecha runs in with a chair and lays out Devon, and Engin walks in and puts Devon in the camel clutch. Throws him right in the canals. With the other rats, right? Out of Tune says, very excited to see the progress Brian has made and see if he can give Brandon a serious challenge. I'm worried though, Brandon Allen is a monster. Yeah. Yeah, Brandon is good, right? Yeah, Sweden making left arm obsolete again. It's too bad, right? Like, yeah, I understand it, seeing as like 90% of the world population is right-handed, predominantly. But still, arm wrestling is arm wrestling, right? It is very interesting how it kind of divides it right down the middle, right? It's I'm thinking of other sports that have a similar divide like that, but I can't think of a lot of others. Are there any others? I'm sure there are, right? Probably some niche sports, but maybe also some bigger ones I'm forgetting. But I think it does definitely have an impact on things, for sure. Having that big of a divide, like, are you left or right-handed? Mainly. It is interesting. But yeah, that's my opinions on the matches, on the East versus West matches. I see there's been some talk about Vitaly still showing up and stuff like that. I wouldn't hold my breath if I was you. I don't see it happening. Personally. Maybe that's cynical of me, but yeah, I don't see it happening. I'd love to see it happen, but it won't, I think. All in all, I'll watch it. I'll probably watch it. Like I'll watch any arm wrestling event, basically. Or most of them, at least. And there are some interesting matches on here. It's not all just people from North America. Although mainly, of course, it is, but not all of them. So yeah, I'll watch it. I don't know how much it'll be, actually. How much will the pay-per-view be? €17. Interesting. €17. I don't know, there's less matches, right, than before? It's not too bad. I think it's cheaper than previous events. But there are less matches, right? There's 9? I think on average East vs West had what, 12 or something, or something like that. But yeah, there are a couple less matches, but I've always been a proponent of shortening the event in general, so I think that might be a good thing. Larry almost beat Alan. Yeah, that's true. Then again, Larry wasn't that bad. I think of all the crossover people, Larry still has one of the most hours on the clock as far as stable time goes. I wouldn't say necessarily he's the best or strongest arm wrestler of all the crossover people, but I think he still kind of has the most stable time under his belt, right? Almost has to be. I haven't talked to Vitaly. I wish I knew more, but I honestly don't. I'm probably more out of the loop on a lot of these things than the average chatter here, so yeah. But that's kind of the point of this stream, right? Catching me up a little bit. We have to believe Vitaly comes. Then if you include right hand with, yeah, that's true, 10 matches. If you include Devin, Alex, very true. Yeah, what I'm gonna be keeping my eye on most of all, I think, during this event is production value. Like the matches, some of them I'll definitely be taking a close look at because they're interesting to me. But production value is gonna be the main thing I'm gonna be taking a look at, like atmosphere, how smooth everything goes, how good the connection is, camera angles, stuff like that, overlays, sound quality, very important, of course. So yeah, I'm gonna be taking a close look at all of that, because if this is way better in all those regards, then I think it's just a matter of time until more and quote unquote better matches will happen, right? I'm not saying these are bad matches, they aren't, but you know what I mean, right? More Eastern pullers, I can't see them not joining if all of that lines up, because yeah, if you can make this into this event into a success, get part of the strongman community involved, yeah, and then also deliver on like a really well produced event for a decent price, then yeah, I think it can be a real boon. We can benefit a lot from it. But yeah, those are a lot of ifs, right? Out of Tune says, Army Historian, I figured out where you come from, by the way. It's your accent. Can I spill the beans? Yeah, you can always take guesses. It's been a running gag here. I think a lot of people... It's out there where I'm from. My human form is out there too already, so yeah, I don't mind. You can take a guess, or just tell me where I'm from, I guess, since you seem to be pretty sure. Josh Rowe says it's not gonna be East versus West production, it's all Shaw production. Yes, indeed, Out of Tune, I am from there. I am indeed. Those are some pretty deep cuts. The Fries not so much, but the Samson and Geert one is definitely a deep cut. Yeah, a lot is riding on this event. I do agree. Like, is there any news on what's been happening in the Engin camp of things, in the East camp? I'm calling it the Engin camp, but I should call it the Eastern camp, right? Like, what's been going on Engin's Instagram? I know he's not super active on here, but basically nothing, right? Yeah, basically nothing. He's probably more active on Facebook. Let me pull up Facebook here. And we can take a look at what Engin's been saying about all this. Because we've basically seen what's been going on the western side, right? And what we can expect from the western side of things with this event. So now let's take a look at potentially what's going on here on the eastern side of things. And we'll start with Engin Terzi. I'm not, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not calling Engin Terzi the ringleader or the shot caller or anything. I know a lot of people are calling him that. I'm not saying that. I'm only saying Engin Terzi is one of the people that I know is very deeply involved with this rift, was a big part of it. And yeah, he's a major representation of armor sling in the East, of course. So let's take a look here. But I've covered my ass a little. Okay. Okay, talking politics. Don't want to know. Not really saying anything. Ermi is a great example of a champion that we can trust with our children. Okay, more politics. Engin pulling. I show speed for some reason. Why is Engin posting I show speed stuff? Okay, because he was in Turkey, I guess. Okay. His true thoughts about me. Yeah, I know there's been a lot of this going back and forth, right? There was also like this recorded conversation with Engin getting all like emotional and stuff. Yeah, but as far as I can tell, not a lot on like his personal page here. Maybe Engin arm wrestling or something. I know he has other pages, I think, but I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I don't know what it, like it's always very cryptic to me, some stuff coming from the East. I don't want to get copyright striked here. Yeah, it always seems very cryptic for some reason. A 2020 post with Devon talking about the King's move. Yeah, it's not telling us a lot. Facebook isn't giving us a lot here. Engin went dark, says Al Sams. Interesting. Tomer, how you doing, man? Somehow our historian returned. Out of Tune says, I'm part Dutch, so there you go. Interesting. Shout out to Jambers. Yeah. Oh, there's a deep cut. Yeah, I love the Dutch. I go there plenty of time to the Netherlands. Erican says, last video I saw from Engin was short and he looked very sad. Yeah, I also saw, that's maybe a good call. Let's take a look at his YouTube. What's been going on there? I also saw him like having some beef with Aussie arm wrestler, striking his stuff. I hope Engin isn't like striking random channels that talk about him. That's always a bad idea. Like, that's never good. It's like the Streisand effect, right? You're just drawing more attention to it. Don't do that. Let's take a look what's been going on YouTube. Nice try, Engin. Copyright strikes update. Yeah, there you go. That's the Aussie arm wrestler stuff, right? Look what's going on his channel. Two weeks ago, so nothing there it seems. Maybe in his community tab. 11 days ago. A bit more patience, but not for a long time. So yeah, this is where it all started, right? Stuff like this. But yeah, not a lot. It seems like he either deleted a lot of stuff or just stopped posting about 10 days ago or something like that. Interesting. Interesting. Erican says he tried to take down Aussie arm wrestler's channel. Yeah. I know all about it. I've been the target myself of some strikes. Not recently, and not necessarily Engin directly, so... But yeah, I feel him. We've talked behind the scenes a little about it. Next thing we hear from Engin will be an event announcement once it's all sewn up. I don't think he's fading away, says Calvin Jones. Yeah, I don't know, I hope not. Because I think there will be some Eastern pullers that are just about stubborn enough to just stop arm wrestling altogether. I can actually see that happening for some of those guys, but just in general, I hope not. I'd hate to see people leaving the community altogether. Reminds me of stuff like Gary Roberts and stuff. I still find it very sad that Gary Roberts is no longer part of the community. Especially to a content creator like me, it's... yeah, his footage, and I'm not even talking about the stuff he hasn't released, that he has buried in his attic or whatever, but his footage is like an invaluable resource for arm wrestling, and just very unfortunate that he left the community over a petty dispute with Brian Bowen. With anyone for that matter, but yeah. Tomer says, say what you want about Engin, fine, you are probably right, but you can't change my mind that Devon is the antichrist of arm wrestling. He destroyed everything from my point of view. Yeah, there's a lot of that going around too, like... I don't know, it seems very polarizing to a lot of people. It kind of reminds me of arm wrestling several years back. Or like, yeah... arm wrestling a long time ago. When East and West was super fractured, was impossible to set up a match between the two best guys from that region. Yeah. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like what it reminds me of. I hope we've gone too far past that era to go back to it. But yeah, it does kind of remind me of it, and it frightens me a little bit. Hey Lagia, how you doing? Says, imagine Engin and Jake locked in a room. They talk it out, right? Homer says, in the last 2 months, 3 things happened. Levon destroyed Hermes, Devon's... yeah, Devon's pics got leaked, and Devon ducked Vitali. It's interesting because the Devon stuff leaked a long time ago, man. All the Devon stuff. I'm not gonna go into it, of course. I don't want to contribute to stuff like that because I think in general, pictures like that leaking is, first of all, not a big deal to me personally. And second of all, I think it's just, yeah, what are you even trying to accomplish, right? By doing something like that. But yeah, those things were out. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that goes on beneath the surface. I'm actually making a video on kind of exactly that. Not specifically that topic, but a lot of stuff that goes on under the surface of arm wrestling, a lot of forgotten things and memes and all that stuff. I'm making a big video on that, so yeah. Look forward to that one coming out pretty soon. Out of Tune says, I respect the older generation, but can't depend on people who don't want to be involved with the sport anymore. We need new blood, new characters, new winners, etc. Yeah, plus I think competition is always healthy. More leagues the merrier, as far as I'm concerned. If Engin starts his own league and can do a better job, then more power to him, right? Hey, Neil Pickup, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Welcome, says that evening arm historian. Hope you and your family are doing well. Just listening in. Yeah, man. Definitely Arm Wars Iron House. Arm Wars has always been one of my favorite things watching, especially coming into the sport. One of the things that got me into the sport was Arm Wars. So good to have you here, Neil. Thanks for listening in. I don't know how much longer I'll keep going. Neil usually goes live in about 50 minutes from now. with the fix, of course, which, yeah, most people will probably be aware of the fix, and I think he's going live today too. Yep, the fix 220, Devin Larratt joins to talk Shock Classic and East vs West 19. There you go. And that'll seamlessly be after our stream where we've talked about pretty much the same thing, right? Talked about the rift that has been formed and what each side is kind of doing, or I guess in this case not doing. There's so many athletes that have come out, right? I believe I made a reel on it while I was in the Philippines, I think. Yeah, this one. So many athletes that have come out and said, like, we're not pulling if Engin is not involved. Marharin, Matyushenko, Kalinichenko, Kamil, I think, too. Some private messages that leaked, the whole phone conversation that leaked. A lot of stuff going on. You should make a video on blacklisted arm wrestlers. That's a good idea. I've been kind of workshopping an idea that fits kind of closely together with that one. But yeah, that's not a bad idea. Like cancelled arm wrestlers or something like that. Out of Tune says, hey Neil, hope everything is well. Yeah. Will there be a fix tonight? Yes, there will be a fix. I'll repeat it again, there will be a fix tonight. Tomer says, sad that both Gary Roberts' archives and Igor Mazurenko's archive of videos are gone now. Yeah, there's a lot that's been lost, man. Like a ton. Yeah. I wish I had access to Gary Roberts' secret vault of footage. There's so many tournaments that I either choose to leave out of a video or only mention very briefly because there just doesn't exist any footage for it. And for some tournaments, I can't even find any image. And believe me, I'm like going back on the Wayback Machine, looking at old websites and stuff, trying to dig up any like even low resolution thumbnail of an image that exists. And for some tournaments, they just don't exist on the internet as far as I can as far as I can tell. So yeah, a lot of that footage is just waiting to be uploaded, basically. I just don't think he has any interest at all in doing that. Out of News says, I like that you picked the Verve. Yeah, I thought it was applicable, kind of, right? It just popped into my head for some reason, that song. Yeah, I'm doing fine, Neil. I'm doing fine, a little tired. Feel like I just recovered from my travels and now I'm having to move house and stuff like that, but it's exciting and also good. Looking forward to it. The card might not be everybody's standard, but I know most matches will be spectacular battles. It has to be. Well, your enthusiasm is certainly infectious to me, Out of Tune, and I appreciate it. Yeah, like I said, I'm looking forward to the event, maybe for slightly different reasons. I'm keeping a very keen eye on the production value. Outcomes of matches, yeah, I'm curious about some of them. This Lawrence Chalet match, for personal reasons, I won't divulge any more information on that front. Although I think it wouldn't hurt anyone, but I won't. But for personal reasons, I'm looking forward to seeing how Lawrence Chalet will do in this match. Yeah, the Gabby Jocelyn match, kind of a foregone conclusion to me, but I'm happy to be surprised there. This one should be the same, but you never know. Derek Smith doesn't have the best record at East vs West, so yeah. Like I said, the same guy who faced Artyom Morozov at East vs West. Just saying. Ricard versus Pavlo. Yeah, I like it. I actually do like this match. I'm happy Riekert is in one of these events. And then Pavlo, yeah, I just love seeing more of Pavlo. I think he's a very underrated puller. It's very strong if he shows up in good shape. Matt Mask versus Philip Larsen. Personally, not super excited about it. Open weight class, obviously. But yeah, it's a Matt Mask. It's a Matt Mask match. Say that like 10 times fast. So that's always good. And Philip seems like a really nice dude, so why not? I thought Hutchings versus Dave Chafee is a mismatch to me. I'm just gonna say it. I think Dave Chafee beats Todd Hutchings pretty easily, but yeah, I'd love to see differently. It is at 115 kilograms, so keep that in mind. Eddie Hall versus Robert Oberst. Sure, why not? I'm happy they're involved. I'm happy there's a bigger crossover with strongmen. Yeah. It's, of course, you can't put strongmen versus super experienced arm wrestlers because, yeah, the super experienced arm wrestlers will win. Unless maybe you do some kind of freak up match, right? Like, I don't know. Were we thinking like Eddie Hall versus Daniel Prokopchik or something, but I've got a feeling that Daniel would still win that match. We saw the Belgian national champ of like, I think he's minus 85, going versus Eddie Hall not too long ago, and yeah, the champ, like the Belgian guy, the minus 85 kilogram guy, took Eddie Hall pretty easily on the practice table. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe Eddie Hall versus Daniel Prokopchik might be a little tough for Eddie Hall, but you could do a kind of a freak matchup like that, right? But yeah, other than that, you can't really put a strong man versus an experienced puller because the arm wrestler will just win, right? When they're in the same weight class. Devin Larratt versus Alex Kurdecha on the right and left arm this time. Sure, why not, making up for a previous match that wasn't reffed super well. Yeah, I can see why they're doing it. Devin is always a big crowd pleasing, like people drawer. Sure, he will draw some crowds to the event, so I get why they're doing it. And then yeah, as a main card, it's Brian Shaw himself versus Brandon Allen, which I'm guessing will get a lot of eyes on the event and on the match and on arm wrestling in general, so I can't really be mad about this match. Even though I think Brandon Allen should take it. On paper at least. So yeah, I'm hopeful. Not the best matches in my opinion, but from someone else's like perspective, they might be the best matches ever. Someone who's really into strongman, I can see these matches being super exciting. So yeah, looking forward to it. We'll be keeping a look on the production value mainly. If it's really good, like if the production value is really high and it's super professional and stuff like that, then I think they've reached a good price point at about $20. And I think it'll show a lot of Eastern pullers that there's value in being in these events. And maybe it can kind of mend the rift a little bit, right? Which has kind of been the theme of this live stream. The whole debacle happening there, which is fine. It is the main thing happening in the sport right now. But yeah, it'll be very interesting if this kind of olive branch from the West can convince some Eastern pullers to get back into the fold. Because I do think it'll be a major loss to the sport. Even if this event turns out well, like imagine if we don't see some of the biggest names in the East pulling against some of the biggest names in the West anymore. Would be a real loss, I think, to the sport. I know that's kind of for me, personally, that is the case. It might just be because I'm very entrenched into the sport and I've been following along with a lot of these guys' careers in the East as well as the West. So for maybe a lot of newer people and stuff, it won't matter as much. But yeah, I kind of see it as a big loss if we don't have some of the major Eastern pullers there. But hey, who knows? Maybe it'll open the door for some really good like Southeast Asian pullers or some really good African pullers. Like there's major pockets in the world that are still untapped, right? Probably have a lot of potential, so if this kind of leaves the door open for more chances for people from those regions of the world, then that can be a positive, right? Just trying to look at it from any positive angle here. Even though infighting is never good, especially for a niche thing like arm wrestling. Oberst is training with Alan Fisher. Nice, okay, interesting. Yeah, interesting. I wonder if he'll pull in the same way as Alan. Hopefully we can hear Matt Mask this time. Yeah, you can't have a Matt Mask match and not put his mic on, right? Out of Tune says, I really feel we owe it to the sport to support this event as much as possible, even if it's just a gesture of good faith and appreciation. Yeah, I think... Listen, I'm all for judging things on their merit. And if this event doesn't interest you at all, if you don't think it's worth the price of admission, then by all means, don't watch it, right? Give the matches a watch when they're on YouTube later. I don't know how they'll be doing that, by the way. Like putting stuff on YouTube, how fast they'll be this time around. But at least keep an eye on the progression of the league, right? This is going to be a regular thing where Brian Shaw is now involved with East versus West. How are they going to be tackling future events? Because before you know it, Eastern pullers might be back in, right? So at least keep an eye on it. Don't be dismissive of the entire thing. Give it a chance. And yeah, I think that's what anyone can expect from you, right? As someone who wants to support arm wrestling, that's all people can kind of want from you, I think. Jolly Roger says, yeah, he hasn't put out anything since he showed up to Alan's practice. Maybe like sandbagging a little bit. Erican says Devon should add the winner's purse from their first left-hand match to this one. Yeah. I think Devon doesn't mind gambling sometimes, so maybe if Alex suggests something like that, Devon will do it. I don't know. Shao Classic has very professional streams, almost as good as the streams with the Arnold Classic, which is top notch. Yeah, Arnold Classic I've watched a couple of times too. They're always good. Baxter and Dexter have talked about doing prelims in the future, something Engin was always against. Yeah, that will be interesting. I know they've kind of done something like that. Prelims, not really in any kind of super structured way, which granted I always thought was like a lost opportunity. Imagine if you had a whole like yearly tournament system people could kind of funnel through that would lead into kind of the big playoffs or something. Like that would lead into the main events, so to speak. Would be great for the sport, I think. Some kind of pipeline that makes sense, right? If you're getting into arm wrestling and you're like super excited and I'm gonna give this sport a try, I want to get really good at it. What does my like path look like from here? Where do I get started, right? And then you see, okay, there's like East versus West qualifiers and amateur qualifiers and stuff like that going on all over the world. So, and those can directly qualify me to go into the final qualifiers, and if I win there, I have a guaranteed spot at their next card on this date. Like stuff like that, just make it very clear, very transparent, and very easy for people to kind of find and see. I think that can be a real positive for arm wrestling if they actually do it. But yeah, for some reason it seems difficult to organize. Maybe it's just because those individual events can't be made like lucrative enough, and the potential profits of those main events aren't big enough to cover those preliminary events. I can see something like that happening, or just needing more infrastructure to actually organize this on a global scale. There's probably stuff like that that I'm not like taking into account, but yeah, probably some reasons they're not doing it. But yeah, I enjoyed today, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me. I think that about covers it. I'll be back same time, same place next week Sunday. Hope to see you again there soon. Thank you for hanging out. Get your asses over to Neil's stream, The Fix, over on his channel, and tell him the ARM historian sent you. Maybe we'll get a cheeky little shout out from Neil there. And yeah, I'll probably see you over there in chat. Keep your eyes peeled for my next big video, which is coming out soon. And then, of course, I'll be finishing my John Brzinck series as well. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of videos released on the ARM historian this month. And a live stream every week, at least one. So until then, see you guys. Thank you to my top fans. I'll use YouTube's new function here really quickly, which is Out of Tune, The Drew, and Kazazuri. That's my top 3 here. So thank you so much for interacting with the stream, and thank you everyone for being here, hanging out with me, and talking arm wrestling. I greatly enjoyed it. Until next time, Arm Historian out.